Hello. Hello, hello. What's up, Losh? Nice of you to join. What's up, Benjamin? How's it going? What's up, Wing Chun? I'm glad you're here. Uh, zoom this in. All right. Should get started. It's a long chapter today. I think we have 25 pages to go today. I'm an American. Can I read that long? But we'll try. Oh no. One second. What's up, Nikki? How's it going? All right. Let's do this. Hey, live screen. Do, do. Happy August. Wait, what's special about August? All right. Let's do this. Can we do a quick? Hmm. Prek. Perk. Pet. Peter. Can't be the. Petrie. No I. Wait. What about repel? Repel. No either. We'll try it. Aha! Reply. It's gotta be. Look at that. It's just August. I guess I celebrate August. It's one of the months. Not as hot as July. I'm gonna celebrate September too. It'd be way cooler. All right. Also the month of the Chinese Valentine's Day. True. All right. Needless. Wait, where have I heard that before? I've heard it. Is it from some book? Backstreet Boys, T-Set, NSYNC, wait, Sage, Flyby, Nag, Champa, Mint, Byway, Bug Fix, Rhythm, Forest, Lane, Hunter, Alley. Oh, we know Backstreet and NSYNC. That can't be right. What other ones? What other boy bands from the 90s do I know? Mint, Sage, T-Set, Rhythm, Hunter. Is that a thing? That might be an herb. Nag Champa, Rhythm, Bug Fix, Alley, Byway. T-Set. Bug Fix. What? Is there an alley, a lane, a backstreet, and a byway, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So not boy bands. But NSYNC is a boy band. Is there another NSYNC? Hunter. Rhythm. Nag Champa. What is that? Gan. Is it an anagram? Gan. Ang. Myrrh. Sage. Mint. Myrrh sounds like an herb. In sync. Maybe Nag Champa. Bugfix. Hunter. Forest. Hunter. Forest. Sage. Flyby. Bugfix. What? Hunter. Hunter. Bugfix. Rhythm. Nag Champa. Is that an herb? In sync can be an herb, right? Forest, Hunter, T set. Rhythm? Rhythm? Alright, I'm doing this. Fuck! It's nothing! Okay. Not an herb. Maybe these don't go together. Rhythm in sync. A rhythm in sync. Flyby. Nag Champa. Forest. Needless. Sage. Huh. T set. T. T. Fly. T. Fly. Nag. Bug. Fly. T set. Nag Champa. Rhythm. Needless. Need. Sage. Mint. Forest. Myrrh. I have no idea. Rhythm in sync. T set. Oh God. It's a long chapter today. We gotta do this. Can't take too long. Sage. Hunter. Hunter. Hunter in the forest of myrrh. The forest of myrrh. Where the sage are. Flyby. Fix. Fix. Set. Fix. Set. T set. T. Okay, I'm just gonna. Hunter, forest. Flyby. And need bug. Oh, rhythm. Nah. All right, not looking good. Sage in a T set. Oh. All right, that one. No. Oh no, is it buffering? Are we not doing good? Shades of green? Oh my god. Okay, I was never gonna guess that. Y is the only vowel starting with synonyms for pester. Oh, bug, nag, Needle. Tea? Oh, tease. Gotcha. All right. You know, I don't think I was ever going to get that. Cemental. Let's do it. Tea. So myrrh is a plant. It is a plant. Frankincense and myrrh. Also is it incense? Gotcha. Myrrh. Incense. Plant. Drink. Forest. Dry. Ooh, rain. Drought. Rainforest. Fake. Wet. Desert. Buffering again? Oh no. Dessert. Cake. Eat. Temperature. Incense we tried. Pesticide. Pest. Smoke. Dry. Dry. Fire. Snow. Flood. Weather. Event. Disaster. Tornado. No, just dry. Wash. How about a drink? Martini? Bar? Buffer the word? Oh, fork. Submerge. Buff. Muscle. Dry. Disaster's up there a little bit. Dry. Wine. Gin. No, it's not a drink, I think. How about food? Restaurant? I think we can go pretty random. Plain. Water. Glass. Wipe. Cook. Evaporate. Hail. Storm. Computer. Electricity. Air. Magic. Wire. Light. Let. Do. Go. Here. Where. Where. Wherever. You are. Ice. Cold. Cold. Hot. Cool. A breeze. Lace. Sand. Dune. Location. Hike. Dry and cold. Blizzard. Snowing. AC. Condition. Huh? Conditioner. Okay. Shampoo. Planet. Thermos. Frostbite. Earth. Situation. Situation. Dirt. Condition. A situation. A scenario. A predicament. An argument. Trouble. A problem. An event. Blind. The condition is definitely a situation. That's right. Definitely. We have a situation here. Houston, we have a situation. Problem. Emergency. Circumstance. Need. Desire. Position. What's up, Psyduck? A development. Ah. Nope. A case. An event going through a era. A deal. A notable. A note. Note. Notably. Situation. Catastrophe. An apocalypse. Oh, it's up there. Disaster. Natural. A happening. Oh, happen. Happenstance. Nope. A report. An angle. Wish. Desire. A want. Situation. A chance. Caught. A trap. Nope. Ambush. Nope. A fluke. An accident? Damn it. Hit. Chaos. Order. Misfortune. Fortune. Fortunate. I did do case. Try again. Case. Cold. Settlement. Story. Party. Fear. Afraid? Oh, wait. Scared? Scary. Scare. Horror. Horrible. Terror. Sad. Sad? Spooky. Nightmare. Disturbing. Disturbed. Great band, by the way. Scary. I'm afraid. I'm frozen with fear. Paralyzed. Good song. Sickness. Ah, Sickness is a good song. Did you hear that their rendition of Sound of Silence? Was it? Yeah. Ah, that was so good. Inaction. Action. Act. Despair. Scary. Horror. Horrible. Let me try that. Frightening. Frightening. Frighten. So frighten is low, but frightening is up there. Waking. Scare. Spook. Lonely. Alone. Fearful. Fearful. Flee. Haunted. Terrifying. Terrified. Terrify. Fearful. In fear. What? Hesitant. Ah. Hesitancy. Apprehensive. Ah. Cautious. Aha. Dangerous. Reluctant. Careful. Nope. Cautious, apprehensive, timid. Caution. Okay. So it's an adjective. Fearful, cautious, apprehensive. What else? Yielding. Nope. Cautious, caution, hesitant, reluctant, regret, wary. That's a good word. Wary. Definitely wary. Weary is tired. Maybe it is tired. Nope. Weary. Avoidant. Standoffish. Cautious, apprehensive, anxious. Anxiety. Phobia. Dismissive. Definitely some negative feeling. Cautious, apprehensive, anxious, cursed, anxious. Hateful. Careful, we tried. Careless. Reproach. Depressed. Depress. Depression. I tried careful, right? Did we not? It was low. Yeah. Maybe it's a adverb. Apprehensively. Nope. Timidly. Precarious. Precarious. Whoa! Okay. Precarious. Dangerous. Treacherous. Tedious. On the precipice. Precarious. Dangerous. What else? It's eventful. Fragile. Oh, wait. Delicate. Huh. No. I think we gotta go precarious, apprehensive, something fear related. Capricious. I don't even know what that means. Shatter. No. Apprehensive, precarious, cautious, dangerous, tender, temperamental, precariously, touchy, unstable. Oh, wait. Chaotic. Chaos. Moody. Oh. Neutral. Nope. Flighty. Huh. Angry. Mean. Nice. No. Precarious. Apprehensive. Pernicious. Troublesome. Troubling. Balance. Balance on a knife's edge. Precarious. Unbalanced. Nope. Imbalance. Nope. Dangling. Dangly. Dangle. Dangling. Oh no. It's a long chapter. We gotta do it quickly. Torment. Yeah. Like the cemental. Yeah, unstable, apprehensive, precarious, tormented. Torturous. Torture. Stormy. Dark. Painful. Tempestuous. Really reached into your mind there. A tempest. Contempt. Contemptible. Contempt. Contemptible. Tedious, we tried. Agonizing. Messy. Shoddy. Thrilling. Huh. Entertaining. Nope. Torturous, we tried. Precarious. Boring. Nope. Something exciting. Exciting. Anxiety inducing. Deadly. Huh. A wreck. Precise. Oh my god. Yeah, treacherous. Edgy. Different. Enthusiastic. Nope. Emotional. Uncertain. Up. So good. All right. Good job, Nikki. Uncertain. All right. That's pretty good. Unsure. Okay, there's like it's more unsettling, unclear. Okay, and not scary. All right, good job. All right, well, as a reward, we get this. What is this? No. Uncertain snacks. Huh. What does it say? She something. Ah. Yeah. Shisa. Okinawa shisa sweet sable. I see. I guess it's from Okinawa. All right, some type of cookie. It's broken. Oh no. All right, I have half of it. I think there's some kind of design on it, but we're not sure what it is. Let me take the other one out. Probably that pig that's on The packaging. Oh, wait, I think it is. Wait, no, never. Is it? Maybe. All right. Maybe. What do you guys think? What is that? Yeah, it's the pig, right? Because it's this guy. Oh, is it a hippo? Or some kind of animal? I have no idea. Whatever it is, we're eating it. Yum, 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 yum. All right. Oh, it smells like a regular butter cookie. Hmm. Hippo flavored? No. Hmm. Yeah, like a butter cookie. It's a regular. It's very dry. Um, yeah, there's nothing special about it. Nah, that's a 6, guys. It's a 6. Sorry. Sorry, Mr. Pig Hippo. You didn't make the 7 rating. Alright. Got this. It's not Pocky. It's Poriki. 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 Alright. There's another. Okay, it's something. Okay, is this some kind of mythological animal? Because it's the same guy, right? Oh, maybe it's some Okinawa yokai. Looks like a pig lion. Is that a mane? What do you think? A shisa? Well, that would make sense. Wait, let's look it up. Oh, you're right. A shisa. Like a guardian lion of Okinawa. Ah. Wait, hold on. What's this thing? So rude to call it a pig lion. It's a pig hippo. Okay. No, look at that. That pig lion. Oh, that's pretty cool. Hey, that's pretty badass. Where's my full-size picture? Okay. Hmm. All right, this is brown sugar. I love Pockies. Oh. You know the pizza flavored Pockies? Not bad. Actually, pretty good. I don't know if it was a Pocky or one of those snacks. Poriki. Okay. Yeah. I guess I smell the brown sugar. It's also kind of sour. Something else in there. Ooh, check it out. Is there a Hanami taste? I think so. Is it you or does it look big? I don't know. It's not that big. I think it's cherry blossom flavor. I taste it. It's actually pretty good. Okay. It says brown sugar on the packaging. I guess I taste the brown sugar, but I also taste some cherry blossom, I think. Unless I'm crazy. Whatever it is, it's pretty good. Alright, that definitely reaches the 7 rating mark. I think it goes higher. I think it might be a 7.56. 7.6. Does cherry blossom and brown sugar go together? I guess it does. It's actually pretty good. One more. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Oh, ho, ho, ho. 7.6. Psyduck was very close. Just bump it up one more time. No! I refuse. Look at this. Ah, I'm excited for this. So this is age mochi. So it's fried mochi. It says shio. Shio. Salt flavored. Alright. I don't think I can open it this way. No, not possible. It's impossible. Oh god. Is this even possible? Okay, it is. More packaging, higher score. Oh! Oh yeah. Okay. I think it's gonna be good. Check it out. Yeah. Give me some of that fried mochi. Did you hear that crunch? Oh. My goodness. It's just that. It's just salt flavored. Nothing exotic. But it's actually pretty good. How does it compare to last week's chips? I still think last week's is better. But I forgot what rating I gave last week. I don't want to say that last week was better and then give this one a higher score. But this one's actually pretty good. Alright, this definitely beats a 7. Is it 8 level? It might be. I want to give it... I want to give it a solid 8. It's a nice crunch. I think it's like a 7 or 8 out of 10 crunch. Yeah, you know what? 8. Hmm. Oh, Nikki, you nailed it? Okay. Maybe I need to start using decimals in my crunch rating. Hmm. 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 Oh, pretty good. I want to finish the entire thing. All right. Nom nom nom. All right. All right. Too dry. Drink some water. Eat the whole bag. Just pour it into my mouth. Nom 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 nom. All right. So Shisa are just like those guardian lions from China. But they're in Okinawa. All right. Are you ready? It's going to be a long chapter today. Today and next week. You got 25 pages to go. So let's do it. Should be good. I'm excited. We left on a cliffhanger. So last week was pretty exciting. So the Wu brothers, they decide to disappear and they go to the Mongol camp to assassinate Kublai, all right? All on their own. Okay? No one told them to do it. They just decided to do it. They're hoping to gain glory and win the hand of Guo Fu, right? Win her hand in marriage. Of course, they suck. They're not that powerful. So they get caught. And with them as hostage, the Dharma king sends a letter inviting Guojing to come to the Mongol camp. Now, Guojing, of course, he's going to come. He wants to rescue them. And Hong Rong asks young Guo to go with him. Now, young Guo is like secretly happy, right? Because he's thinking like, oh, well, the Mongol fighters could kill Guojing for me. I wouldn't have to do it myself. And then, so young Guo says that, oh, Xiaolong Nu should come too. Okay. But Hong Rong, she's pretty smart. She insists that Xiaolong Nu stay to protect her while she's pregnant. And Yang Guo realizes that Huang Rong is using Xiaolong Nu as a hostage, as leverage against him. So Guojing and Yang Guo, they ride into the Mongol camp, and Kublai Khan welcomes them with a feast. Right now, during the feast, the Mongols bring out the Wu brothers. They're kind of beaten up, right? They're bloody. Guojing tells them to go back to Xiangyang with instructions that the city gates must remain closed even if he dies. Okay, so it doesn't want his death to affect the defense of the city. So the Wu brothers go away. Now Kublai tries during the feast to convince Guojing that the Song government is corrupt and not worthy of his loyalty. But Guojing is not having any of it. He's fighting for the people, not the emperor, right? Now, Guojing yells at Kublai Khan. His invasion is slaughtering innocents. And Guojing turns to leave, and it appears that Kublai is letting him go. But as he walks out, Mongol soldiers ambush him, and then the fight begins. Now, it's a pretty hard fight for Guojing, right? Because the martial artists that are working for the Mongols, they also attack. They're pretty strong. Yang Guo pretends to attack, but he actually just pulls back Ma Guangzhou to protect him, which I agree with. Okay, that Ma Guangzhou guy should not die. Now, the Mongol martial artists, they attack Guojing together, each one of them hoping to gain the title of Mongolia's greatest martial artist. Okay, so they're not like cooperating very well. They just each one of them just wants to gain the glory, and they want to be the one to kill him. After some fierce fighting, Guojing manages to break out of the crowd, and he gets on a horse and he rides away. But seeing this, Young Guo can't let him escape, so he yells like he just suffered some internal energy injury, right? Now, Guo Jing, as he's riding away, he hears it, and he forgets about his escape, and he just turns around, he returns to rescue Young Guo. And as he returns, his horse is struck by arrows, and it collapses. He carries Young Guo on his back, trying to fight and run away at the same time. Now, while Guo Jing is doing this, Young Guo is like on his back. He tries multiple times to stab Guo Jing in the back, like literally. He's a backstabber. So he was really going to do it. But every time he tries, Xiao Xiangzi blocks the attacks, okay? Because he wants the credit for killing Guo Jing. Now, Guo Jing continues fighting, but he's wounded in the fight. And it looks like he's about to lose his life. And it's at this moment that that Yang Guo has a change of heart. He sees Guo Jing's bravery and heroism, and Yang Guo decides to protect Guo Jing. Okay, he decides to be the protagonist. He carries him and he fights desperately to save him. But it's only Yang Guo against these high-level martial artists, right? How will he survive? How's he gonna do it? That's where we left off. How's that? Does Guo Jing die in this chapter? Does he? Does he die? Is the question. Will he die? Will he die saving Yang Guo? No. Chapter 22. Part 1. An infant girl in a besieged city. Okay, wait. Who is this infant girl? Infant girl. Wait, is this Huang Rong's child? Does she give birth? Just when all seemed lost for Guo Jing and Yang Guo, the Mongol troops suddenly parted. An elderly cripple bracing himself on an iron crutch with his left hand and brandishing a massive iron hammer in his right, charged into the fray, shouting, "Young Master Yang, break out at once! I'll cover your rear!" Hey, is this who I think it is? The blacksmith? In the midst of battle, Yang Guo stole a glance and recognized him as Feng Mofeng, the blacksmith disciple of Peach Blossom Island. Startled, he had no time to ponder how this man had suddenly appeared. Remember he was going to war? Here he is. Thank God he was going to war. As it happened, Feng Mofeng had been conscripted by the Mongols to forge and repair weapons. In secret, he had already assassinated a Mongol commander of 1,000 and a commander of 100. Good job. His methods had been subtle, and no one had discovered the truth. Hearing the uproar this day and seeing from a height that Guo Jing and Yang Guo were surrounded, he had immediately fought his way in to rescue them. His great iron hammer whistled through the air. Whoever it struck died instantly, and in moments he had carved out a bloody path. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, you have to come back to the story at some point. Delighted, Yang Guo slashed his way forward with his sword, but the golden wheel Dharma King spun his wheel, catching both Yang Guo's swordplay and Feng Mofeng's hammer at once. Only when Xiao Shangzu's morning staff darted toward Guo Jing's back did the Dharma King ease his pressure on young Guo, allowing him to withdraw his sword to defend Guo Jing. Yet, whenever the Dharma King's wheel smashed toward Guo Jing, Xiao Shangzu would also swing his staff to deflect it. This Xiao Shangzu guy, maybe he's the MVP. He's saving our heroes. Had the two not been competing for credit, young Guo might have fought to the death in vain, and Guo Jing would already have perished. Kublai had promised the title of Mongolia's greatest warrior, hoping to spur them all to valor, never expecting that mutual rivalry would restrain them and bring about this unforeseen disadvantage. We're saved? Yay! Though Guo Jing's life was spared for the moment, the Mongol army had already formed a ring around them, as impenetrable as a wall of bronze and iron. The Dharma King and Xiao Shangzu strained to outdo one another with every move. Nimo Xing, gritting his teeth against the pain, sought openings and launched venomous attacks from all directions. By now, Guo Jing and young Guo had been battling amid tens of thousands of troops for more than half an hour. The sun had begun to tilt westward. Suddenly, the Dharma King's golden wheel flashed as his style changed. With a clang, it met young Guo's sword. The gentleman's sword could slice through iron like mud, and a notch was cut into the rim of the golden wheel. Seizing the moment, the Dharma King thrust forward, the wheel driving ahead with a fierce gale of force. Fearing to endanger Guo Jing, young Guo dared not dodge sideways. He raised his sword to block. The wheel tilted slightly with a faint hiss, and its edge sliced into his right forearm once more. Though the wound was not deep, it severed a blood vessel. Blood spurted out. After only a few exchanges, his limbs began to weaken and his strength ebbed away. The enemy's assault was relentless. How could he possibly free a hand to bind the wound and staunch the bleeding? Feng Mofeng whirled his hammer desperately and rushed in to rescue him, but the Dharma King's left palm struck again and again, forcing him onto the defensive. Had he not exerted every ounce of strength, he would scarcely have been able to save himself. Seeing an advantage to seize, Xiao Shangzu knocked aside Nimo Xing's iron serpent with his staff, then sprang up and thrust the tip of the staff down toward Guo Jing's head, ready to release his poisonous sand. Young Guo was aghast. In that perilous instant, his left hand shot out and seized the head of the staff, while his right hand sword thrust forward in the same motion. His entire body was now exposed. The Dharma King needed only a light flick of his wheel to end his life. Yet he intended to use young Guo to drive Xiao Shangzu away. Forcing Feng Mofeng back with a palm strike, he reached out toward Guo Jing's back, hoping to capture him alive and claim an extraordinary merit. Xiao Shangzu had not expected young Guo to risk everything so recklessly. Before he had even landed, his staff was seized. Suspended in midair, he could not exert strength. A flash of white glinted before his eyes. The sword tip was already at his chest. Trapped by the circumstances, he could only release the staff and arch backward to save his life. Feng Mofeng swung both hammer and crutch together, smashing toward the Dharma King's back. The Dharma King wheeled around and blocked them with two ringing clangs that split the skin of Feng Mofeng's palms. Then he reached once more to Guo Jing's back. With a tiger's roar, Feng Mofeng flung aside hammer and crutch, thrust both arms around from behind, and clasped the Dharma King tightly. The two toppled to the ground together. Furious, the Dharma King struck his shoulder with a palm, jolting his organs as if they had been turned upside down. Wait, is Feng Mofeng gonna die? He's our hero. He can't die, right? While serving in the Mongol army, Feng Mofeng had witnessed their cruelty and brutality, seen them drive civilians to attack Xiangyang, and seen Guo Jing fight to the death to repel the invaders. He had never known Guojing before, nor did he know he was the beloved son-in-law of his own master's sect. He knew only that if this man died, Xiangyang would surely fall. He had resolved that even if he must endure 1,000 cuts himself, he would save Guojing from peril. The Dharma King's palm struck with incomparable speed, smack, 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 breaking sinews and shattering bones, grievously injuring Feng Mofeng's organs. Yet his arms never loosened. His 10 fingers dug deep into the muscles of the Dharma King's chest. Is he gonna die? The Mongol officers and soldiers had been standing around watching, certain that the Dharma King and the others would succeed, and thus had not interfered. Now, seeing the Dharma King toppled and Xiao Shangzi retreat, they surged forward in a mass. In such a situation, even had Guojing been uninjured, how could he and Yang Guo, however skilled, withstand the simultaneous crush of hundreds and thousands of soldiers? Yang Guo sighed inwardly. Ai, so be it, so be it. He snatched up Xiao Shangzi's morning staff and swung it wildly. Suddenly, with a soft pop, a jet of black smoke burst from its tip. More than a dozen Mongol soldiers before him inhaled the fumes and fell at once. In his frantic brandishing, he had accidentally triggered the mechanism, releasing the toad poison sand concealed within. Startled for an instant, Yang Guo immediately understood. Supporting Guojing, he strode forward. Mongol troops surged in like a rising tide. He pressed the mechanism again. Black smoke spurted forth, and another dozen soldiers collapsed. Though the Mongols were battle-hardened, they were also steeped in superstition. Seeing a mere swing of the staff, followed by black smoke and sudden death, they shouted in terror, "There's sorcery on that staff! Keep away!" Kublai's personal guards were exceptionally fierce, and mindful that a prince's command was as immovable as a mountain. Though they saw the danger, they still charged in to seize him. Yang Guo jabbed with the staff, another cloud of black smoke, and yet another dozen men dropped. Alright, how much ammo does he have? He pursed his lips and whistled. The yellow horse stretched its long legs and galloped over. With great effort, Yang Guo lifted Guojing onto the saddle. His own limbs felt weak and numb. He had no strength left to mount. He could only pat the horse's rump lightly and cry, "Go, horse! Go quickly!" The yellow horse was intelligent. Seeing its master too weak to mount, it threw back its head and neighed, refusing to move. Mongol troops were pressing in from every side. Yang Guo knew the poison sand, however deadly, would eventually be exhausted. He raised his sword to stab the horse's flank and spur it on, yet could not bear to do so. "Go!" he shouted, thrusting the staff instead. Exhausted, his aim faltered, and the staff struck Guojing's leg. Why? Guojing, already half-conscious, was jolted awake. He bent down at once, seized Yang Guo by the chest, and hauled him up onto the horse behind him. The yellow horse gave a joyous whinny and sprang forward at full gallop. Bugles blared urgently from all directions. Guojing let out a long, low whistle, and the blood-sweating red steed came racing after them. A great mass of Mongol cavalry charged in pursuit. The red horse drew alongside the yellow, brushing continually against Guojing. Yang Guo knew that though the yellow horse was fine, it was far inferior to the red. Drawing a deep breath, he clasped Guojing and leapt together onto the red steed. In that instant, a humming roar rose behind them. The golden wheel came hurtling through the air. Yang Guo's heart clenched. Blacksmith Feng has died at the Dharma King's hands. Is he dead? The thought had scarcely formed when the wheel's whir grew nearer. Yang Guo flattened himself against the horse's back, hoping it would skim past overhead, but the sound was low. It was aimed at the red horse's legs. The Dharma King, having slain Feng Mofeng, wah! Wah! Wow. Our hero, our savior, died immediately. Oh no. That guy was so pure. Yeah. What the hell? Well, he gave us a chance to escape. So you know what? He had a good death. Feng Mo Feng, we hardly knew ye. Having slain Feng Mo Feng, had risen to see Guo Jing and Yang Guo already mounted and beyond immediate reach. At once he had hurled his golden wheel, but set its course deliberately low. He calculated that even if the wheel killed Yang Guo, the red horse would still carry Guo Jing away. Only by severing the horse's legs could he secure his great merit. Hearing the wheel closing in, Yang Guo turned his sword to block it. He knew his strength was spent, and this single stroke could hardly suffice. But with no other choice, he could only do his utmost. The wheel was scarcely 2 feet from the horse's legs, its ominous hum shaking the heart. He lowered his sword to guard the limbs. Yet the red horse, fired by spirit, ran even faster. In a blink, the wheel was still 2 feet away, and no nearer. Joy surged through young Guo. The wheel's force could only wane. Sure enough, in another instant, the gap widened to 3 feet, then 4, then 5, farther and farther, until with a clang it fell to the ground. Wow! It's faster than that thrown golden wheel. Young Guo was exulting when a piteous whinny sounded behind him. The yellow horse, oh no, had been struck in the belly by an arrow. It sank to its knees, eyes fixed on its master with lingering devotion. Young Guo's heart twisted, and tears spilled from his eyes. Ah. Ah, ah. Everyone's dying. Imagine if the red horse dies too. And Guo Jing. The red horse flew like wind and lightning, swift as a falling star. In moments, it had left the pursuers far behind. Clinging to Guo Jing, young Guo asked, "Uncle Guo, how are you?" He was so loyal, yeah. Guo Jing grunted in reply. Young Guo felt for his breath, heavy but steady. Knowing there was no immediate danger, his heart eased. At last he could endure no more. He slumped over the horse's back, half conscious, letting it run where it would. Suddenly he saw before them yet another multitude of troops coming to seize Guo Jing. Oh, that's our troops, right? He waved his sword wildly and shouted, "Don't harm my Uncle Guo!" He slashed and thrust to left and right. His vision blurred, faces and figures swam before him. After swinging for a time, he tumbled from the saddle. Still he cried out, "Kill me! Kill me! It's my fault! Don't hurt Uncle Guo!" Then heaven and earth spun, and he knew no more. Hold on. Camera died. Lost the camera too. Oh no, bells for the camera. It fell from the horse. Wait. Wait. He had no idea how much time had passed before he slowly came to. At once he cried out, "Uncle Guo! Uncle Guo! How are you? Don't let them hurt Uncle Guo!" A gentle voice beside him said, "Guo, rest easy. Your Uncle Guo only needs some time to recover." Turning his head, he saw Huang Rong, her face filled with gratitude. Behind her stood another figure, eyes glistening with tears, gazing at him with boundless tenderness. It was Xiao Longnu. What's up, Sunnyside? Did you miss something bad? Some things happened. uh-huh. Things happened. Gonna have to maybe rewind and see. Alright. Young Guo exclaimed, Auntie, how did you get here? Were you captured by the Mongols too? Run, quickly! Don't worry about me! Xiaolong Nu said softly, Guo, you're back. Don't be afraid. We're all safe here in Xiangyang. Young Guo let out a long breath. His limbs felt boneless and weak, and he closed his eyes again. Huang Rong said, He's awake now and out of danger. Stay here with him. Xiaolong Nu agreed, her gaze never leaving Yang Guo. Huang Rong rose and was about to step outside when a faint crack sounded from the roof. Her expression changed slightly. With a sweep of her left palm, she extinguished the candle. Startled by the sudden darkness, Yang Guo sat upright. His injuries were only external. He had fainted from blood loss and exhaustion after the fierce battle. Now, after half a day's rest and a dose of Peach Blossom Island's secret healing medicine, the 9-flower Jade Dew pill, his youthful strength had restored him by more than half. Hearing movement on the roof, he was instantly alert and moved to rise. You guess the details? You guess you'll learn the details? Okay. Xiaolong Nu stepped in front of him, drawing the gentleman's sword that hung at the bedside. In a low voice, she said, Guo, don't move. I'll stand guard here. A burst of laughter sounded from the roof, and a clear voice called out, Ha 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 ha! I have come to deliver a letter. Could it be that the etiquette of the southern court requires receiving guests in the dark? If there is some matter unfit to be seen, I can return later. From the accent, did you hear my accent? It was Huo Du, disciple of the Golden Wheel Dharma King. Huang Rong replied, The etiquette of the southern court depends on the person. In broad daylight, we receive honorable guests openly. In candle-snuffed, starless nights, we meet only furtive and despicable visitors. Huo Du was at a loss for words. He leapt lightly down into the courtyard and said, A letter to be presented to the hero Guo Jing. Huang Rong opened the door. Come in. Seeing the room shrouded in darkness, Huo Du did not dare step inside. Standing at the doorway, he said, The letter is here. Please, take it. If you call yourself a guest, why not enter? Huang Rong asked. Huo Du sneered. A gentleman does not linger in dangerous places. One must guard against hidden arrows. Huang Rong said coolly, Since when does a gentleman judge others with the heart of a petty man? Huo Du flushed. This Chief Huang has a razor tongue, he thought. I'll gain nothing sparring with her. Choosing silence, he fixed his gaze on the doorway and extended the letter with both hands. Huang Rong flicked out her bamboo staff, its tip darting toward his face. Startled, Huo Du leapt back several feet. Only then did he realize his hands were empty. The letter had vanished. She had merely touched the tip of her staff to the letter, and as he retreated, used a sticky force to draw it away. Her time of childbirth was near, and her belly was heavy. She did not wish to meet male enemies face to face, so she had kept to the shadows. Alarmed and disheartened, much of Huo Du's boldness in entering the city drained away. Raising his voice, he called, The letter has been delivered. We shall meet again tomorrow night. Huang Rong thought, You come and go through Xiangyang as you please. Do you take this city for empty of men? Casually lifting the teapot from the table, she tilted it. A stream of freshly brewed hot tea shot out from the spout in a thin, unbroken line. Huo Du had been on full guard against hidden weapons, but the water flew out without a sound, unlike ordinary projectiles that announced themselves with a whistle. By the time he sensed danger, his neck, chest, and right hand had already been splashed. The scalding heat burned fiercely. With a startled cry, he sprang aside. Ah! Huang Rong stood at the doorway. Before he could steady himself, her bamboo staff shot out, employing the trip technique of the dog-beating staff. With a swift motion, she sent him sprawling. Huo Du vaulted upward, but the trip technique followed one stroke upon another, each faster than the last. If one evaded the first blow, one had to withdraw at once to prepare for the second. Now that he had already been tripped, how could he possibly block the next? He felt as though his feet had sunk into mud or become entangled in countless vines. He fell once, scrambled up, only to fall again. Huo Du's martial arts were by no means weak. He had fought Huang Rong openly. Though he would ultimately have been outmatched, he would not have been thrown into such disarray at the first exchange. But when the scalding tea splashed over him, he assumed it to be some deadly corrosive poison. Convinced his life was forfeit, and imagining his flesh rotting away in agony, he was seized with terror. Thus, when Huang Rong suddenly attacked, the first blow having already unsettled him, he had no chance to counter the second. In the darkness, he was battered until his face was bruised and swollen. Wow, she caught him. By then, the Wu brothers had rushed over at the noise. "Seize this little thief," Huang Rong shouted. In desperation, Huo Du's wits returned. He knew that if he leapt up, he would only be tripped again, so he cried out miserably, feigning a grievous fall, and lay sprawled on the ground without rising. The Wu brothers pounced together to pin him down. Suddenly, his iron-boned folding fan shot out, tap, tap, striking the acupoints on their legs. He shoved them forward to block Huang Rong's bamboo staff, then sprang up and landed atop the wall. Man, these Wu brothers can't do anything. Neither can my camera. What the fuck? The Wu brothers are kind of the two stooges. Yeah. With hands cupped, he called, "Chief Huang, what formidable staff technique, and what worthless disciples." Huang Rong laughed. "Ha ha ha. Since you've been splashed with poison, how could anyone dare lay a hand on you?" Oh shit. At these words, Huo Du felt his courage shatter. The liquid burned the skin and carried the scent of tea leaves. What strange and dreadful poison could it be? Reading his thoughts, Huang Rong said, "You've been struck by a lethal poison, yet you don't even know its name. To die without knowing why, how could you rest in peace? Very well, I'll tell you. It's called Meridian Bone-Revealing Tea." Bone revealing tea. That's scary. Huo Du muttered, "Meridian Bone-Revealing Tea?" Have we seen more useless characters than Guo Fu and the Wu brothers? Yeah. Yeah, what's up with them? Are they gonna do something? Kind of sad how strong Guo Jing is, but his disciples aren't very good. Yeah. Indeed, a single drop upon the skin and the whole body will fester until the bones show. From midnight to noon, from noon to midnight. You have 6 hours left to live. Best hurry back. Huo Du had long known that the chief Huang of the beggar clan was not only formidable in martial arts, but unfathomable in cunning. Her father, Huang Yaoxi, the very name apothecary, doctor, was profoundly learned in medicine. With her intelligence and family lore, concocting such a poison would be effortless. For a moment, he stood frozen atop the wall, unsure whether to return and await death or bow his head and beg for an antidote. You think that's sort of a statement about how no matter how good your teacher is, you still need to work hard? Yeah. Or be a genius? Or meet a bunch of people who teach you things? For a moment, he stood frozen atop the wall, unsure whether to return and await death or bow his head and beg for an antidote. Huang Rong knew he was no fool. The tale of poison would deceive him only briefly. If pressed too long, he would see through it. She said, "We bear no grudge against each other. Had you not spoken so rudely, you would not have doomed yourself." From these words, Huodu detected a thread of hope. Casting aside all pride, he leapt down and bowed deeply. "I was insolent. I beg Chief Huang's forgiveness." Hidden behind the doorway, Huang Rong flicked her finger, sending out a 9-flower jade dew pill. "Take it at once." Huodu caught it. This was a life-saving elixir. How could he hesitate? He swallowed it immediately. A fragrant coolness sank into his dantian, and comfort spread through his body beyond description. Bowing again, he said, "Many thanks to Chief Huang for the medicine." This 9-flower jade dew peel is like a senzu bean. His arrogance utterly dispelled, he retreated slowly until he reached the wall, then vaulted over and hastened out of the city. Watching him go, Huang Rong sighed softly. She released the Wu brothers' acupoints and recalled his taunt. What formidable staff technique, and what worthless disciples. Though she had outwitted the enemy, she felt no triumph. The trip technique of the dog-beating staff relied on subtle force, yet even so it had tugged at her abdomen, stirring a dull ache. She sat down to regulate her breathing for some time. Xiao Longnu lit the candle. Huang Rong opened the letter. It read, "The Golden Wheel Dharma King, First Guardian Preceptor of Mongolia, respectfully greets the great hero Guo. Earlier today, I was fortunate to behold your bearing, which has long consoled my heart. I had hoped we might converse by candlelight through the night, yet found it difficult to secure your favor. How is it that this old monk proves so unworthy of instruction that you departed in such haste?" The ancient said, "Some grow white-haired together, yet remain as strangers. Others, upon tipping their carriage canopies, become as old as friends. My thoughts linger long upon you. Tomorrow I shall pay a return visit. I trust you will not refuse me at 1,000 li." Huang Rong started in alarm. She handed the letter to Yang Guo and Xiao Longnu. "The walls of Xiangyang may be strong, but they cannot bar masters of the martial world. Your uncle Guo is gravely injured, and I cannot exert myself. The enemy will soon mount a great assault. What are we to do?" "Uncle Guo," Yang Guo began. Xiao Longnu shot him a glance, her eyes full of reproach. Yang Guo knew she blamed him for risking his life to save Guo Jing, and at once he fell silent. Huang Rong grew suspicious and asked again, "Miss Long, Guo has not yet recovered either. We can only rely on you and brother Zhu Ziliu to hold off the enemy." Xiao Longnu had never known how to dissemble. Whatever she thought, she spoke plainly. In an even tone, she said, I will protect Guor alone. Whether others live or die has nothing to do with me. Hongrong found this all the stranger, yet it was awkward to press her further. Turning to young Guo, she said, Your Uncle Guo says this time we owe everything to your efforts. Remembering how he had repeatedly tried to harm Guo Jing, young Guo felt ashamed. Your nephew was useless and caused Uncle Guo to be gravely wounded. Rest well, Hongrong said. When the enemy attacks, if we cannot defeat them by strength, we shall defeat them by wits. She turned to Xiao Longnu. Miss Long, come with me. I have a word to say. Xiao Longnu hesitated. Ever since Yang Guo had returned to Xiangyang, she had kept vigil at his bedside without taking a single step away. Hearing Hongrong summon her out, she feared he might suffer harm again. The enemy has declared they would attack tomorrow. Well, if the enemy said that, they must be honest. Hongrong said, Tonight will surely be quiet. What have I to say concerns Guo. Xiao Longnu nodded and softly told Yang Guo to be careful before following Hongrong out. Hongrong led her to her own chamber and shut the door. Miss Long, she said, you wish to kill my husband and me, do you not? Though Xiao Longnu was pure of nature, she was no fool. She had resolved to kill Guo Jing and Hongrong to save young Guo's life. Had Hongrong tried to circle the matter with probing words, she would never have revealed the truth. But Hongrong had judged her temperament precisely and struck straight to the point. Xiao Longnu started, stammering, You have treated me so kindly. Why would I kill you? No. Seeing the flush rise from her face, Hongrong was even more certain. There is no need to hide it from me. I have long known. Guo says my husband and I caused his father's death, and that he would kill us to avenge him. You love him dearly, so you would help him fulfill his wish. Thus exposed, Xiao Longnu could not bring herself to lie. She thought young Guo must have let something slip. After a long silence, she sighed. I simply do not understand. Do not understand what? Hongrong asked. Why today he risked his life to save Uncle Guo and bring him back, Xiao Longnu said. He had agreed with the Golden Wheel Dharma King and the others to strike together and kill Uncle Guo. She's just revealing everything. Hongrong was shaken to the core. She had guessed that young Guo harbored ill intent, but never imagined he had colluded with the Mongols. Yet she kept her face calm, as if she had known all along. It must be that when he saw how sincerely and deeply Uncle Guo treated him, at the crucial moment he could not bear to strike. Xiao Longnu nodded, sorrowful. Now that things have come to this, there's nothing more to say. Since he would rather forfeit his own life, then so be it. I always knew he was the best of men in this world, willing to die himself, yet unwilling to harm even an enemy. In that instant, several thoughts flashed through Hongrong's mind, yet she could not discern the meaning behind these words. Seeing the deep anguish on Xiao Longnu's face, she offered comfort. The matter of Guo's father's death has twists and turns we have yet to explain. In time, we will tell him everything. His injuries are not severe. After a few days' rest, he will recover. You need not grieve. Xiao Longnu stared at her for a long moment. Suddenly, 2 streams of tears rolled down like broken strands of pearls. He has Only 7 days to live, she choked. What is there to say about resting a few days? Hongrong started in alarm. 7 days to live? Speak quickly. There must be a way to save him. Xiaolongnu slowly shook her head, but at last she recounted what had happened in the Passionless Valley. Finally, we get some communication between the characters. How Young Guo had been poisoned by the passion flower, how Qiu Qianqi had given him only half a passionless pill, how she had set a limit of 18 days for him to kill the two of them in return for the other half, how agonizing the poison's attacks were, and how, in all the world, only that remaining half pill could save his life. The more Huangrong listened, the more astonished she became. She had never imagined that the brothers Qiu Qianzheng and Qiu Qianrun had a sister named Qiu Qianqi, and that such calamity would arise from her. When Xiaolongnu finished her account, she said, He has 7 days left. Even if he killed you both tonight, he might not reach the Passionless Valley in time. Why would I still harm you? I only wish to save Guo'er. As for avenging his father, I care nothing for it. At first, Hongrong had thought Young Guo harbored dark intentions purely to avenge his father. Who could have known there were so many twists within twists? If this were so, then in protecting Guojing with all his might, he had in truth been sacrificing himself. Such selfless chivalry was indeed exceedingly rare. She rose slowly and paced the room in agitation. For all her unrivaled intelligence, in this desperate plight, she could devise no sound plan. In a few short hours, the enemy's experts would launch a great assault, though she had comforted Young Guo by saying, If we cannot defeat them by strength, we shall defeat them by wits. Yet, how were they to outwit them? How? Xiaolongnu's whole heart was given to loving Young Guo alone. Hongrong's heart, however, was divided in two, half for her husband, half for her daughter. She thought only, how can I keep Brother Jing and Fu'er safe? Then another thought struck her. If Guo'er can sacrifice himself for others, why can I not do the same? Turning resolutely, she said, Wait, she has a baby. She'll be sacrificing the baby too. She gives birth right now. Can she induce a birth? Prematurely. Turning resolutely, she said, Miss Long, I have a plan to save Guo'er's life. Will you agree to it? Overjoyed, Xiaolongnu trembled from head to foot. Even if it means I must die. What is death? Even if it were 10 times worse than death, I would... Good, Hongrong said. Only you and I must know of this. It must not be revealed. Guo'er must not be told. Otherwise, it will fail. Xiaolongnu agreed repeatedly. Tomorrow, you and Guo'er must join forces to protect Uncle Guo. Once the crisis has passed, I will give you my head. Let Guo'er ride the Fergana steed and hurry to exchange it for the passionless pill. Really? Xiaolongnu stared, stunned. What did you say? Softly, Hongrong said, You love Guo'er more than your own life, do you not? So long as he is safe and sound, you would be happy even in death. Is that not so? Xiaolongnu nodded. Yes, how did you know? Hongrong smiled faintly. Because I love my husband in just the same way. You have no children, so you do not know that a mother's love for her child is no less than that between husband and wife. I ask only that you keep my husband and daughter safe. What else do I desire? Xiao Longnu pondered without answering. Good time for a break, I think. All right. She's gonna sacrifice herself? Nah, not gonna happen. She has a child. Is she gonna give birth? I feel like she's gonna give birth. That's the infant, right? All right, we'll see. Be right back. 5 minutes. All right, we're back. Okay. Will she kill herself? Will it happen? Hongrong continued. Without you and Guorer joining hands, the Golden Wheel Dharma King cannot be repelled. Guorer has risked his life several times to save us. Can I not save him once? That Fergana steed can travel 1,000 li in a day. In less than 3 days, he can reach the Passionless Valley. Let me tell you, it was I alone who injured Chu Qianzheng and Guorer's father. Uncle Guo had nothing to do with it. When Chu Qianqi sees my head, even if she is not fully satisfied, she will have no choice but to give the antidote to Guorer. Afterward, if the two of you can serve the country and defend the people, so much the better. If not, and you withdraw to live in seclusion in some remote valley, I shall be equally grateful. Her words were perfectly clear. Apart from this, there was truly no second path. In recent days, Xiao Longnu had thought only of how to kill Guojing and Hongrong to save young Guo's life. But now, hearing Hongrong speak thus with her own lips, she felt unspeakably ashamed. She shook her head again and again. That will not do. It will not. Hongrong was about to explain further when she heard Guofu calling anxiously outside. Mother, mother, where are you? Startled, Hongrong asked. For? What is it? Guofu pushed open the door, and without minding Xiao Longnu's presence, threw herself into her mother's arms. Mother, Brother Wu Junru, and Brother Wu Xiuwen. With a wail, she burst into tears. Gotta hate her. Hongrong frowned. What is it now? The two of them, have gone outside the city to fight. Hongrong was furious. Fight? Are the two brothers fighting each other? Guofu had seldom seen her mother so angry and was frightened. Trembling, she said, Yes, I told them not to, but they would not listen. They said they would fight to the death. They said only one would return. The one who loses, dead or not, will not come back to see me. Alright, what the hell's going on? The more Hongrong heard, the angrier she became. The great enemy stood at the gates. The lives of the entire city hung by a breath, and these two brothers would kill each other over a girl. Her anger stirred the prenatal chi within her, and at once pain beaded sweat upon her brow. In a low voice, she said, You must have been stirring trouble between them. Tell me everything in detail. You are not to conceal a single thing. Guofu glanced at Xiao Longnu, a faint flush rising to her cheeks. Mother. Xiao Longnu, preoccupied with young Guo and having no heart to hear of the Wu brothers' quarrel, turned and left. She went back to young Guo's side, all the while silently pondering Hongrong's earlier words. After Xiao Longnu left the room, Guofu said, Mother, they went to the Mongol camp to assassinate Kublai. They failed and were captured, and father was gravely wounded because of it. It was all my fault. If I didn't tell you now, wouldn't father and mother have cherished me in vain? She then recounted how the Wu brothers had both sought to please her, and how she had urged them to win merit by killing the enemy, so she might choose between them. Huang Rong was filled with anger, yet could not vent it. She merely shot her daughter a resentful glare. Mother, what was I supposed to do? Guo Fu said. Each of them has his good points. How could I say I favored one more? I told them to kill the enemy and earn merit. That was exactly what father and you would have wished. Who knew they were so useless to be captured the moment they went? Hong Rong spat lightly. You know perfectly well the Wu brothers' martial arts are not strong. And what about young Guo? Guo Fu retorted. He's not much older than they are. How is it that he fights the Dharma King and charges into enemy camps, yet is never captured? Hong Rong knew her daughter had been spoiled since childhood. Even when clearly in the wrong, she would argue stubbornly. So she did not pursue the earlier matter and said instead, Once they were released, why did they go out of the city to fight? That's your fault, Mother. You said they were disciples of a good-for-nothing. Hong Rong started. When did I ever say that? I heard Brother Wu Dunru and Brother Wu Xiuwen say so. Just now, Ho Du delivered a challenge, and you told them to capture him. Instead, they were struck and had their acupoints sealed. You blamed them for being good-for-nothings. Hong Rong sighed. Hey, if their skill is inferior, what can be done? Disciples of a good-for-nothing, those were Ho Du's words. Exactly, Guo Fu said. You didn't argue with them, so that meant you agreed. The two brothers were indignant. As they argued, one blamed the elder for moving too slowly when seizing Ho Du. The other said his brothers had stood in front of him and gotten in the way. The quarrel grew fiercer, and finally they drew their swords. I said, if you fight inside Xiangyang and people see you, what will it look like? And father is wounded. If you anger him, I will never look at either of you again. So they said, fine, we'll go outside the city to fight. Why are they so what's going on? Maybe they should just die. I hope the Mongols come and fight them and kill them. Huang Rong pondered a moment, then said bitterly, There are 1,000 urgent matters before us. I have no energy to deal with this. If they want to make trouble, let them. Guo Fu wrapped her arms around her mother's neck. Mother, what if one of them is hurt? If they were wounded killing the enemy, that would concern us, Hong Rong said sharply. Brothers of the same blood fighting each other. If they die, it serves them right. Seeing her mother's stern expression, so unlike her usual indulgence, Guo Fu dared not speak further and ran out, covering her face. The two stooges Wu? Yeah. The Wu stooges. Dawn was approaching. The window panes had begun to pale. Alone in her chamber, Huang Rong, though angered by the Wu brothers, could not help but worry for them, having raised them from childhood. Thinking of the great calamity to come, tears fell from her eyes. Remembering Guo Jing's injuries, she went to his room to look in on him. Guo Jing sat cross-legged on the bed, quietly circulating his qi. Though his face was pale, his breathing was steady. She knew that with a few days' rest he would recover. In that moment, she could not help recalling their youth, when they had healed their wounds together in the secret chamber at Ox Village in Linnan Prefecture. Ah, the good old days. Guo Jing slowly opened his eyes. Seeing tear stains on his wife's face, yet a smile at her lips, he said, Runger, you know my injuries are of no consequence. Why worry? It is you who must rest well. Hong Rong smiled. Yes, these past few days the child has been moving fiercely. Your Guo Polu, or Guo Xiang, is about to meet father. Oh, she does give birth. Fearing to trouble him, she said nothing of Huoju's challenge or the Wu brothers leaving the city. Tell the two Wus to strengthen patrols in the city's defenses, Guo Jing said. The enemy knows I am wounded. They may seize the chance to attack. Huang Rong nodded. And how are Guo's injuries? He asked. Before she could answer, footsteps sounded outside, and young Guo's voice called from beyond the door. Uncle Guo, my wounds are only external. After taking Auntie Guo's 9-flower jade dew pill, I hardly regard them as anything at all. As he spoke, he pushed the door open and entered. I've already made a round of the city walls. The brothers are all in high spirits, eager for battle. Only the Wu brothers... Hong Rong gave a light cough and shot him a look. Young Guo understood at once and continued. The Wu brothers said that since you were gravely wounded for their sake, if the enemy attacks, they will fight to the death to repay your great kindness. Guo Jing sighed. Ai. After this battle, the two of them should have learned some sense. They mustn't think the affairs of the world so easily managed. Young Guo said, Auntie Guo, isn't Auntie with you? I spoke with her for a while. She's probably gone back to rest, Huang Rong replied. Since you were injured, she hasn't closed her eyes. Young Guo murmured acknowledgement. After speaking with Hong Rong, she will surely tell me everything. But when she returned, he had gone to inspect the walls. When he first entered Xiangyang, he had been single-minded in his intent to assassinate Guo Jing and Hong Rong. Yet, after several days together, seeing their wholehearted devotion to the country and their reckless courage in all things, he had been deeply moved. Then, in the battle at the Mongol camp, when Guo Jing had risked his life to save him, he had utterly abandoned all thought of killing him, and resolved instead to repay him with all his strength. He knew that in 7 days the passion flower poison would flare, so he cast everything else aside. If in these 7 days he could do 1 or 2 good deeds, his life would not have been in vain. He had also expected that, with Guo Jing gravely wounded, the enemy would seize the chance to attack. As soon as he regained some strength, he went to inspect the defenses. Now, thinking of Xiaolongnu, he was about to go seek her when, more than 10 jiang away, someone on a rooftop burst into loud laughter. This was followed by 2 resounding clangs of metal striking metal. Yeah, of course. They wouldn't follow what they said in the letter. The Golden Wheel Dharma King had arrived. Bum, bum, bum. Guo Jing's face changed slightly. He reached out to draw Huang Rong behind him. In a low voice, Huang Rong said, Brother Jing, what matters more, Xiangyang City or the love between you and me? Your body or mine? Guo Jing released her hand. Right. The affairs of the nation come first. Huang Rong took out her bamboo staff and stood barring the doorway. She had not yet told young Guo of what she had said to Xiaolongnu. She did not know whether he would fight the enemy or seize the opportunity amid the chaos to avenge private grievances and obtain the antidote. His nature wavered between good and evil. If he truly turned against them now, all would be lost. Thus, though she stood guard at the door, her eyes were fixed on young Guo. The brief exchange between Guo Jing and Huang Rong struck young Guo like a thunderclap. His decision to help Guo Jing had been born of admiration for his great benevolence and righteousness, and partly of a wish to repay a confidant with his life. But now, hearing the words, "The affairs of the nation come first," and recalling Guo Jing's earlier declaration outside Xiangyang, to serve the country and the people is the greatest chivalry, and exhaust oneself in service, and only then cease at death, his heart suddenly opened. He saw how deeply husband and wife loved one another, Yet in the face of peril they placed the country before all. And he himself, he had dwelt endlessly on his father's vengeance and his love for Xiaolongnu. When had he spared even a fraction of thought for the fate of the nation? When had he considered the suffering of the common people? Compared with them, he was despicable indeed. In that instant, phrases Huang Rong had taught him on Peach Blossom Island in his childhood, to sacrifice oneself to fulfill benevolence, to give up life for righteousness, became crystal clear in his mind. He felt both ashamed beyond measure and fiercely uplifted. With the mighty foe attacking and life and death hanging by a thread, many thoughts he had never before considered suddenly became lucid. So those philosophy lessons did help. As his resolve rose, it was as if his whole being grew taller. His face shone with a new radiance. He seemed a different man. Though countless thoughts had raced through him, it had taken but an instant. Huang Rong saw his expression shift from confusion to shame, from agitation to firm composure, yet did not know what had passed in his mind. Suddenly, she heard him say softly, "Rest assured." With a clear whistle, he drew the gentleman's sword and rushed to the doorway. The golden wheel Dharma King stood at the edge of the roof, a wheel in each hand, laughing. "Ha ha 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 ha! Brother Yang, swaying east and west, fickle and faithless, how does it feel to be such a turncoat?" In former days, young Guo would have flown into a rage at such words, but now his thoughts were clear, his mind serene. "You speak truly," he thought. "Only today has my resolve become firm. Whether I live to 100 or only for another hour, I will never waver again." Smiling, he said, "Dharma King, you're quite right. Heaven knows what possessed me. I actually helped Guo Jing escape. Once he reached Xiangyang, he vanished. I can't find him anywhere, and I've been regretting it bitterly. Do you know where he is?" With that, he leapt onto the roof, standing a few feet before him. The Dharma King eyed him sidelong, thinking the boy was full of tricks and uncertain whether to believe him. He laughed. "Ha ha ha ha! And if you found him, what then?" "I'd lift my hand and give him a sword," young Guo replied. "You dare stab him?" "Who said I'd stab him?" The Dharma King was taken aback. "Then whom would you stab?" With a sharp hiss, the gentleman's sword shot forward in a gust of wind toward his left flank. Young Guo laughed. "Naturally, you!" Though delivered mid-laughter, the stroke was fierce, and at such a close range, utterly unexpected. Was it unexpected? He wasn't on super guard. Had the Dharma King's skill been but slightly inferior, like Nimo Xing's or Xiao Shangzu's, this single thrust would have ended his life. Swiftly shifting his move, he flung his left arm outward to deflect the blade. Yet the gentleman's sword was incomparably sharp. It sliced a long gash, nearly an inch deep. Blood flowed freely. Though he knew young Guo was cunning, the Dharma King had never imagined he would strike so suddenly. Wounded the instant he entered Xiangyang, his momentum broken, he was furious. With two whirring sounds, his golden wheel struck twice in succession, while his silver wheel followed close behind. Young Guo did not retreat a step. For 3 incoming attacks, he returned 3 strokes, laughing. "I suffered a wound from your golden wheel in the Mongol camp. Only now have I repaid 1 sword. There's something peculiar about this blade of mine. Do you know what it is?" As the silver wheel pressed forward relentlessly, the Dharma King could not help asking, "What particularity?" "That particularity cannot be blamed on me," young Guo said with a grin. Flowery words, shameless brat. What do you mean? I obtained this sword in the Passionless Valley. Gongsun Ji excels in poison. If you're lucky enough not to die from it, go settle accounts with him. Alarmed, the Dharma King wondered if that old fox Gongsun had smeared poison on the blade. Uncertain, his attacks slowed. I feel like that's a trick you can use in every fight. Just tell the opponent that your blade is poisoned and kind of rattle them. In truth, there was no poison at all. Recalling how Huang Rong had frightened Huoju with hot tea, and knowing his own skill inferior to the Dharma King's, Yang Guo seized the chance to unsettle him with words. Seeing the ruse take effect, he focused on defense, countering when he could, intent on preventing his foe from bandaging the wound. Though not grievous, the cut bled steadily. Poison or no, prolonged loss of blood would sap strength. Judging the situation favored a swift battle, the Dharma King drove both wheels in a furious assault. Understanding his intent, Yang Guo guarded with extreme tightness. The force behind the wheels mounted. Suddenly, the golden wheel smashed down as the silver swept across. Seeing he could not withstand it, Yang Guo sprang away. The Dharma King tore a strip from his robe to bind his arm, but Yang Guo immediately lunged again. This happened several times. Then the Dharma King devised a plan. When Yang Guo leapt back once more, he too sprang away and flung out the silver wheel, forcing Yang Guo to retreat farther. The distance widened. In that fleeting instant, as Yang Guo charged again, he swiftly wrapped the torn cloth around his left arm and bound the wound. Wow, that was super quick. He was like, throw the wheel. Bind the wound. Feeling only pain with no numbness or itching, he concluded there was likely no poison after all, and felt relieved. Just then, from the southeast corner came a clamor of clashing weapons. Yang Guo looked over and saw Xiao Longnu, sword flashing, battling Xiao Shengzu and Nimo Xing alone. Xiao Shengzu's morning staff had been seized by Yang Guo in the Mongol camp and lost in his delirium. Now he wielded another, identical in form, though who could tell whether it concealed poisoned sand. Yang Guo thought, Uncle Guo and Auntie are in the room below. If the Dharma King discovers them, disaster will follow. I must draw him farther away, but without leaving any trace of intent, lest the plan backfire. Calling out, Auntie, do not fear. I'm coming to help you. He bounded forward in several leaps, arriving behind Nimo Xing and thrusting his sword at him. The Dharma King had suffered a hidden strike from Yang Guo and was furious. Yet he reminded himself that their true purpose tonight was to assassinate Guo Jing. The score with that crafty brat could wait. Throwing back his head, he shouted, Hero Guo Jing, I, the old monk, have come to call. Why do you not receive your guests? He called several times, but no one answered. From the northwest came bursts of shouting and the clash of combat. His two disciples, Darba and Huoju, were besieging Zhu Ziliu. Seeing that Yang Guo and Xiao Longnu were evenly matched against Xiao Shengzu and Nimo Xing, and hearing more voices gathering below as the city guards rushed in to seize the intruders, the Dharma King frowned. These soldiers might not be skilled in leaping and flying, yet in numbers they would only hinder him. He raised his voice again. Guo Jing! Guo Jing! All your life you've borne a great name. Why today do you hide like a turtle with its head tucked in? He shouted challenge after challenge, his insults growing harsher, but Guo Jing never appeared. Xiangyang holds tens of thousands of households. How should I know where he hides? He thought. If he swallows this humiliation and heals his wounds, killing him later will be no easy task. After a moment's reflection, a venomous scheme sprang to mind. He leapt from the roof, found a pile of firewood in the rear courtyard, struck a flint to steel, and set it alight. Darting east and west, he kindled 4 or 5 separate blazes before returning to the roof. Once the fire grows fierce, I refuse to believe you won't come out. Son of a turtle? Yeah, haven't heard that insult in a while. Though Yang Guo was locked in battle with Xiao Shengzi and Ni Mo Xing, his gaze often flicked toward the Dharma King. Suddenly, he saw flames leaping up. Smoke and fire were already rising from both the north and south sides of Guo Jing's quarters. His heart jolted, and he nearly took Ni Mo Xing's iron serpent across the chest, hastily drawing back to avoid it. Had Ni Mo Xing not suffered broken ribs from Guo Jing the previous day, and now forced himself forward in hopes of claiming merit, that vicious stroke would have gravely wounded young Guo. That was close, he thought. Uncle Guo is badly injured, and Aunt Guo is on the verge of childbirth. If they remain inside, the fire will trap them, but if they flee, they'll run straight into that bald villain of the golden wheel. Without regard for Xiaolongnu facing 2 masters alone, he thrust twice at Xiao Shangzi to force him back, then leapt from the roof and plunged through smoke and flame toward Guo Jing and Huang Rong. Inside, Huang Rong sat beside Guo Jing's bed. Thick smoke billowed in through the window. Guo Jing's eyes were closed as he circulated his inner power. Huang Rong's brows were faintly knit, yet her expression remained composed. Seeing Yang Guo enter, she merely smiled slightly. Reassured by their calm, Yang Guo's mind worked swiftly, and a plan formed. In a low voice, he said, I'll draw the enemy away. Quickly, help Uncle Guo to a safe place and hide. As he spoke, he reached out and lightly removed the cap from Guo Jing's head, then vaulted out the window. Huang Rong was taken aback, unsure what mischief he was up to. The smoke and flames were pressing ever closer. She reached to support Guo Jing and said, Let's change to another place. Just as she was about to exert her strength, a sudden searing pain tore through her abdomen. Ah! She cried, sinking back onto the bed. Inwardly, she fumed. Little rascal, not early, not late, but choosing this very moment to be born. Are you bent on costing your parents their lives? Oh no. Her due date had still been several days away, but the turmoil of recent days had disturbed the fetus. The child was being forced into the world ahead of time. It wants to come out and fight, defend its parents. The moment Yang Guo sprang out the window, he saw soldiers everywhere shouting at the top of their lungs. Some carried buckets to douse the flames, some shot arrows toward the roof, others brandished long sabers below, leaping and cursing. He slipped behind a gray-clad young soldier, tapped his acupoint to immobilize him, jammed Guo Jing's cap onto the man's head, hoisted him onto his back, and, brandishing his sword in a flurry of flashing arcs, bounded back onto the roof. Why was he wearing a hat indoors? That's the question. At this point, Xiao Shangzi and Ni Mo Xing, 2 against 1, had gained the upper hand over Xiaolongnu. Darba and Huo Zhu, fighting together, were pressing Zhu Ziliu hard. The Golden Wheel Dharma King, meanwhile, had pinned Guo Fu with his twin wheels. Oh no. The razor edges circled incessantly before her face, no more than a few inches away, as he demanded to know her parents' whereabouts. Guo Fu's hair hung in disarray. The tip of her longsword had already been smashed off by the golden wheel, yet she gritted her teeth and fought on fiercely. As though she had not heard his questions, she burned with anger. If Wu Junru and Wu Xiuwen weren't busy trying to kill each other, the 3 of us together would have nothing to fear from this bold thief. Oh yeah? You think so? Unable to restrain herself, she burst out, "Fine, go on and fight each other as you please. Whichever of you wins, when you return, you'll find only my corpse." The Dharma King was startled. "What are you saying? Where is Guojing exactly?" He was waiting for Guo Fu's reply when he suddenly saw young Guo fleeing northwest with someone on his back. The man slung over him hung limp and unmoving. It had to be Guo Jing. Instantly, he abandoned Guo Fu and gave chase. Xiao Xiangzi, Nimo Xing, Darba, and Ho Zhu all saw this and likewise threw aside their opponents to pursue. Zhu Ziliu dared not delay and hurried after them to aid Yang Guo in protecting Guo Jing. As Yang Guo had vaulted onto the roof, he passed Xiao Longnu and shot her a glance, smiling faintly. The look was oddly enigmatic. Xiao Longnu knew he was playing some trick again, though she could not guess his design. Seeing the enemy's strength, she felt uneasy and meant to follow to help him. Just then, from below, came a thin wail, the cry of a newborn. Guo Fu exclaimed joyfully, "Mother's given birth to a little brother," and leapt down. "Quiet, Guo Fu. Shh." Curiosity stirred in Xiao Longnu. Young Guo was resourceful, and that smile had seemed full of confidence. "Very well. Let me first see Hongrong's child." She turned and went inside. The golden wheel Dharma King drove his breath and pursued at full speed, closing steadily on young Guo. The light welled in his heart. "Let's see how you escape my grasp this time." The cap on the man's head was the very one Guo Jing had worn the day before. There was no doubt. The ancient tomb sect's lightness skill that young Guo had mastered was peerless under heaven. Though burdened with a man on his back, he thought only, "With every step I take, Uncle Guo is one step farther from danger." He ran as if his life depended on it, and for a time even the Dharma King could not catch him. After racing across the rooftops for a stretch, young Guo heard footsteps drawing closer behind. He dropped to the ground and plunged into narrow alleys, weaving east and west, circling widely, turning the pursuit into a game of hide and seek. Though his lightness skill slightly surpassed the Dharma King's, he bore a man on his back. In open plains, he would have been overtaken long ago, but he chose only dark, winding lanes, darting and dodging, and the Dharma King could not close the distance. After several circuits, Xiao Xiangzi, Nimo Xing, and Zhu Ziliu arrived in succession. The Dharma King said to Nimo Xing, "Brother Ni, guard this alley. I'll go in and drive the brat out." Nimo Xing rolled his strange eyes and barked, "Why should I obey your orders?" The Dharma King thought irritably that this short Indian was beyond reason. Leaping onto a wall, he scanned about and saw young Guo crouched in a corner, still bearing Guo Jing and gasping for breath. Joy surged through him. Quietly, he crept along the wall top, preparing to drop down and seize him. Suddenly, young Guo gave a shout, sprang up, and vanished into the smoke. In an instant, he was gone. The Dharma King had set the fire to force Guo Jing out, yet now smoke and flame filled every quarter, making it harder to find anyone. As he looked about, he heard Darba shout, "Here!" Following the cry, he saw Darba brandishing his golden pestle in combat with young Guo. The Dharma King leapt ahead, cutting off young Guo's retreat. Young Guo charged forward, swerving to Darba's side. At that very moment, the Dharma King's silver wheel flew from his hand. It came like the wind. Young Guo had no time to evade. With a tearing sound, it skimmed past Guo Jing's shoulder, slicing a deep gash across his back. The Dharma King cried out in delight, "Hit!" Yet young Guo paid no heed to Guo Jing's fate and continued to sprint wildly. Bursting from the mouth of the alley, he heard a sepulchral voice say, "Boy, surrender!" It was Xiao Xiangzi, staff in hand, blocking the exit. Ahead lay no escape. Behind came pursuers. Glancing up, Yang Guo saw a dark figure atop the wall, Ni Mo Xing. He leapt onto the wall. Ni Mo Xing's strange serpent weapon struck down at his head, forcing him back toward the alley. I've delayed long enough. Uncle Guo and Aunt Guo must be safe by now, Yang Guo thought. He seized a small soldier from his back and thrust him toward Ni Mo Xing. Here's Guo Jing for you! Ni Mo Xing was wild with surprise and joy. He thought Yang Guo had suddenly switched allegiance and delivered a great merit into his hands. He reached out and embraced the figure at once. Yang Guo lashed out with a vicious kick, striking Ni Mo Xing squarely in the buttocks and sending him tumbling off the wall. I've captured Guo Jing, Ni Mo Xing shouted in triumph. I'm the greatest hero of Mongolia. Xiao Xiangzi and Darba could hardly let him monopolize the credit. They rushed forward to seize their share. Each grabbed a hold of the small soldier's limbs and pulled with all their might. Oh no! He's gonna rip him apart. All three were men of tremendous strength. With a single wrench, they tore the unfortunate soldier into 3 pieces. The cap fell from his head. Seeing clearly that it was not Guo Jing, the 3 froze where they stood, speechless for a long moment. Seeing Yang Guo abandon Guo Jing and flee, the Dharma King had long suspected a ruse and did not rush forward to contend for the prize. When the 3 men suddenly stood dumbstruck, he snorted. Huh, idiot. Without another glance, he went after Yang Guo again, thinking that even if he failed to capture Guo Jing today, killing that treacherous, slippery brat would make the trip to Xiangyang worthwhile. But by now, Yang Guo had vanished without a trace. Where was there to pursue? After a brief thought, the Dharma King understood. That little beast carried a fake Guo Jing and ran with such efforts to lead me on a wild chase. The real Guo Jing must be near the place I set aflame. Since he plays tricks, I'll answer trick with trick and draw him out. He immediately headed back toward the fiercest blaze. Yang Guo was hiding beneath the eaves of a house, watching. He saw the Dharma King hurry back toward Guo Jing's residence. Unsure whether Guo Jing had escaped far enough, Yang Guo remained uneasy and quietly followed. He saw the Dharma King leap down near the great house and shout, Well done, Guo Jing. You're here after all. Come with this old monk at once. Startled, Yang Guo was about to jump down when he heard the clang and clash of weapons, followed by the Dharma King's loud shout, Guo Jing! Surrender at once! The ringing of metal striking metal continued without pause. Yang Guo rolled his eyes and smiled inwardly. Bold thief! So nearly I fell for it. How laughable your cleverness backfires, faking the sound of weapons clashing. Uncle Guo is injured so badly. How could he trade blows with you? And how could they ring on like that without end? You're trying to lure me out. I'll stay right here and watch you make a fool of yourself. Suddenly, the Dharma King shouted, Yang Guo! This time you're finished! Yang Guo was puzzled. This time I'm finished? Then he understood. If he can't draw me out, he'll try to draw Uncle Guo out to save me. The Dharma King laughed loudly. Ha 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 ha! Yang Guo, if you lose your life in my hands today, you have only yourself to blame. No sooner had he spoken than a white figure flashed through the smoke. A young maiden darted out, sword leveled, rushing at the Dharma King. Shalom. He'd fooled her instead. Auntie, I'm here! Young Guo cried. But the Dharma King had already swung his wheel to intercept Xiaolong Nu. Hearing his shouts and believing Young Guo in mortal peril, she had rushed out in anxious concern. Young Guo sprang forward with sword in hand. He and Xiaolong Nu exchanged a smile, and at once unleashed the Jade Maiden swordplay, enveloping the Dharma King in a net of shimmering light. The Dharma King groaned inwardly. Ah, I've stirred up trouble for myself. Now the two swords join as one. Heat surged on every side. Pillars of flame and beams wreathed in smoke collapsed in showers. Straining with all his might, the Dharma King swung his wheels to fend off the twin blades and retreated toward the northwest corner. Today, we must not let him escape again, Young Guo called. We have to eliminate this scourge. His sword trembled, his body followed the blade as he thrust toward the Dharma King's back. Since his last defeat beneath the Jade Maiden swordplay, the Dharma King had devoted himself to devising a counter. Yet the seamless union of two swords, their minds as one, like a four-armed, four-legged master, left him uncertain whether he could truly break it. Now pressed by danger, he could not worry that his newly conceived great revolution of the 5 wheels still contained many flaws. He had no choice but to try. All right. Let's see what this is. Reaching into his robe, he produced his wheels with a ringing clamor. 3 flew into the air while he still gripped one in each hand. Gold, silver, bronze, iron, and lead, 5 wheels of differing size and weight. He caught and cast them in swift succession, their paths twisting straight and slant by turns. At once, Young Guo and Xiaolong Nu felt dazzled, secretly alarmed. Young Guo slashed twice to the left while shifting his body right. Xiaolong Nu instantly understood. Her gentle woman's sword flickered to the right in a flurry of thrusts as she stepped closer to Young Guo's side. The enemy's techniques were too strange to counter rashly. They held their guard tight, determined first to discern the pattern of his attacks before seeing an opening. The Dharma King's 5 wheels spun like a storm, yet the pair's sword energy crisscrossed into a luminous web. Though the combined force of the 5 wheels was formidable, it could not pierce the radiance of their blades. He sighed inwardly. Hey, even with all 5 wheels in motion, I still cannot break the joined swords of these 2 youngsters. Just then, from within Xiaolong Nu's robes came 2 sharp cries, an infant's wail. She's carrying the baby? The Dharma King was astonished. Young Guo, too, was utterly taken aback. In that instant of shock, all 3 slowed their movements. With her left hand, Xiaolong Nu gently patted the bundle in her arms. Little baby, don't cry. Watch me drive away this old monk. But the infant's cries only grew louder. Young Guo whispered, Aunt Guo's? Wait, did she die? Did she and Guo Jing die? What's going on? Xiaolong Nu nodded and thrust her sword again at the Dharma King. The Dharma King raised his golden wheel to block. He had not heard Young Guo's question clearly and could not fathom why Xiaolong Nu carried an infant. But he thought that with such a burden, her swordplay must surely lose force. At once he urged his golden wheel forward and attacked her fiercely. Young Guo struck out several times, intercepting the assault. Tilting his head, he asked, Are Uncle Guo and Aunt Guo safe? The Chief Huang supported Master Guo and escaped from the Sea of Flames, Xiaolong Nu replied. With a clang, she parried the Dharma King's bronze wheel in his left hand. The situation was desperate. The main beam was about to fall. I snatched this girl from the bed. Really? Sounds suspicious. Young Guo swept his sword across the Dharma King's right leg, deflecting the lead wheel that had been driving toward Xiaolong Nu. A girl? He said. He had thought that since Guojing already had a daughter, this time a son would be born. Yeah, that's how it works. Another girl caught him by surprise. Xiaolong Nu nodded. A girl! Quickly, take her! With her left hand, she reached into her robes to pass the infant to him. But amid the baby's cries, the Dharma King's attacks grew fiercer. 3 wheels whirled overhead, waiting for a chance to strike, while the 2 in his hands cut and smashed with deadly force. Even with all his strength, young Guo could barely hold him off. How could he spare a hand to take the child? Hurry, take the baby and ride the blood-sweating horse to... Xiaolong Nu began. Clang, clang! The Dharma King's twin wheels drove them into peril again and again. She could not finish her sentence. In that moment, their thoughts diverged. The power of the Jade Maiden's swordplay faltered. Only if I take the child would she be free of a distraction, Yang Guo thought. Slowly, he edged closer to her side. Xiaolong Nu was likewise about to hand over the infant. Their intentions aligned. In that instant, the twin blades flared with sudden brilliance, forcing the Dharma King back 2 steps. Xiaolong Nu extended the baby with her left hand. Yang Guo reached out to receive her. Suddenly, a dark blur flashed. An iron wheel flew obliquely toward them, smashing straight at the infant. Fearing the child would be harmed, Xiaolong Nu released her hold and flipped her palm upward, seizing at the iron wheel. Its momentum was tremendous, its rim sharper than a blade. Yet she wore golden silk gloves. As her palm met the wheel, she followed its motion outward, using angled force to dissipate its rapid spin, lifting slightly and drawing it down into her grasp, a masterful application of yielding strength to overcome force. By then, Yang Guo had already taken the baby. Seeing Xiaolong Nu seize the wheel, he cried, Excellent! Had the wheel been hurled directly at Xiaolong Nu, she could not have caught it. But because its aim was the child, she had been able to intercept it from the side. And this guy wanted to kill the child too. Holding the wheel, she was secretly pleased, though her face remained icy. Abruptly, she mimicked the Dharma King's own technique and hurled the iron wheel back at him, returning his method upon himself. The Dharma King was shocked and ashamed. With 1 wheel lost, his great revolution of the 5 wheels was instantly broken. He recalled 2 of the others, retaining only the golden and the silver wheels in his hands. With sweeping cuts and direct strikes, their power seemed even greater. Cradling the child in his left arm, young Guo said, Let's kill this bold thief first. We can speak of the rest later. Very well, Xiaolong Nu replied. Okay, I think we can stop there. Yeah. How did you guys like that? All right. So that's her child, huh? Well, something suspicious going on. Are they dead? I feel like they're dead. Because why would they leave the child? She said she grabbed it. Another kidnapping? I don't know. They might be dead. Are further twists incoming? Ah! They might be dead. Wait, that is a baby, right? I'm looking. Tilting his head. From within Xiao Nu's robes came two sharp cries, an infant's wail. Xiao Nu gently patted the bundle in her arms. Infant's cries. Do we see the baby? Like, I don't know. Am I crazy? Maybe, what if it's not a baby? She's like a ventriloquist. She's making the cries herself. What if it's like, okay, what if it's Hong Rong's head? That can't be right. It can't be. It can't be. I feel like they're dead. Because they would never leave the child. Okay. Kind of weird. Alright, well, I guess we'll find out next time. Yeah, she was like, oh, take the thing and then run. Ride towards the... Wait, what did she say? Take the baby and ride the blood-sweating horse to... And then she stopped talking. Ride to the passionless valley? That might be her head, right? It's not a real... I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Anyways. Well, that was fun. That was fun. Maybe something else is going on that I haven't thought about. All right. Well, the long chapter. Next week will also be another long chapter. Yeah, that was fun. A lot of fighting. Maybe instead of her head is her baby as proof. Yeah, it could be her baby as proof. Yeah, maybe. It's gotta be a baby, right? He knows he's carrying a baby, not a head. Yeah. Can't be a head. Yeah, so maybe the couple already died in the fire or whatever. Or maybe Hong Rong died in childbirth. Yeah, maybe Guo Jing is still alive. I don't know. I feel like they would die together, right? I don't think they would die separately. Okay. Not looking good. Not looking good. All right. Anyways, that was fun. That was cool. I think young Guo redeemed himself, okay, for trying to kill Guo Jing. I think he's doing all right. Yeah, he's got the rest of the book to redeem himself. So I think I'm okay with that. All right. Anyways, well, thanks for joining. I love you. I will see you next time. All right. Bye.